Good morning students. Today we will study lesson 2 microorganisms. Now what are microorganisms? Microorganisms or microbes, we also called microorganisms as microbes, are so small in size that they cannot be seen with the unaided eye. Some of these, such as fungus that grow on bread, can be seen with magnifying glass. Other cannot be even seen with the magnifying glass. We can see with the help of microscope only. That is why these are called as microorganisms or microbes. Microorganisms classified into four major groups. These groups are bacteria, fungi, protozoa and some algae. Now, in order to understand more about microorganisms, let us perform one activity. Collect some moist soil from the field in a beaker and add water to it. After soil particles have settled down, observe a drop of water from the beaker under a microscope. What do you see? You just try to notice what will be you observing. Same way we can do another activity. Take a few drops of water from a pond and spread on a glass slide and observe through a microscope. Do you find tiny organisms moving around in the slide? Yes, there will be some organisms revolving around in the slide in both the two cases. Those small things you observe through the microscope are called microorganism. Some of the pictorial examples I am going to show you in the next slide. Bacteria. Now, what do we mean by bacteria? Bacteria are simple unicellular living things. They are found almost everywhere. Everywhere means in air, water, soil, and also in bodies of most other organisms, including human beings. They grow and multiply very fast. One bacterium divides to form two bacteria in 10 to 30 minutes. And some examples or types of bacteria are rod-shaped bacteria called bacilli, spherical called cocci, spiral called spirilla. So these are the types of bacteria. Next comes algae. Now what are algae? Algae are simple plant-like organisms that have cell walls and chlorophyll within the cells. Algae can be unicellular or multicellular. They make their own food by photosynthesis. They have no true roots, stems, or leaves. These are the types of algae: Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra. These are the types of algae. Now, what are protozoa? Protozoa are unicellular organisms that have animal-like characters, means they resemble like animal. They can move from place to place. They capture and eat food. Some protozoa live in fresh or salt water. Others live in soil. Some are parasites. Parasites mean that live in the body of other organism, including human being. Some of the examples of protozoa are amoeba, paramecium, etc. Next comes fungi. Now what are fungi? Fungi are plant-like organisms that do not contain chlorophyll. They may be unicellular or multicellular. Yeast are unicellular, whereas bread mold is multicellular. These are the types of fungi: bread mold, penicillium, aspergillus, etc. Next are viruses. What are viruses? Viruses are the smallest microorganism. They do not have a cellular structure like other microorganisms. They are so small that they cannot be seen by a light microscope. We need an electron microscope which magnifies an object to more than 2 lakh times. More than 2 lakh times they can magnify. So viruses are very small. Where do microorganisms live? This may be the question in your mind. Now microorganism may be single celled, as I have told, like bacteria, some algae and protozoa, or maybe multicellular such as algae and fungi. They can survive under all types of environment, ranging from ice cold climate to hot springs and deserts to marshy lands. They are also found inside the bodies of animals, including human. Some microorganisms grow on other organisms while others exist freely. Microorganisms like amoeba can live alone, while fungi, bacteria may live in colonies, means they live in groups. Now there are some microorganisms that are helpful to us, means we can say they are friendly microorganisms. Microorganisms are used for various purposes. They are used in the preparation of curd, bread and cake. They are also used in cleaning up of the environment. For example, organic waste, vegetable peel, remain of animal waste, etc., are broken down into harmless and usable substances by bacteria. Recall that bacteria are also used in the preparation of medicine. In agriculture, they are used to increase soil fertility by fixing nitrogen. Now, these are also helpful in making curd. You know, students, the curd that we eat in our breakfast contains several microorganisms. Of these, the most common is Bacterium lactobacillus. This promotes the formation of curd. Lactobacillus bacteria actually promote the formation of curd. It multiplies in milk and convert it into curd. This bacteria convert the milk into curd. Bacteria are also involved in the making of cheese, pickles and many other food items. An important ingredient of rava suji or idli and bhatura is curd, because it consists of lactobacillus. Bacteria are also helpful in making bread. Yeast reproduces rapidly and produces carbon dioxide during respiration. Bubbles of the gas fill the dough. When you use yeast in the dough, some bubbles of carbon dioxide produced in it, they help in increasing the volume of the dough. This is the basis of the use of yeast in the baking industry for making breads, pastries and cakes. Now let us perform one more activity. Take half kg flour, or you can say atta or maida, add some sugar and mix with warm water. Now add a small quantity of yeast powder and knead to make a soft dough. What do you observe after 2 hours? Did you find the dough rising? Yes. Yeast reproduces rapidly and produces carbon dioxide during respiration. Bubbles of the gas fill the dough and increase the volume. This is the basis of the use of yeast in the baking industry for making breads, pastries and cakes. Now, what are the commercial uses of microorganisms? Microbes are used for large scale production of alcohol, wine, acetic acid, that is commonly known as vinegar. Yeast is used for commercial production of alcohol and wine. For this purpose, yeast is grown on natural sugars present in grains like barley, wheat, rice, crushed fruit juices, etc. The process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is known as fermentation. Let's do one more activity, students. Take about 500 ml of beaker, fill up to 3/4 with water. Dissolve 2-3 teaspoons of sugar in it. Add half a spoon of yeast powder to the sugar solution. Keep it covered in a warm place for 4 to 5 hours. Now smell the solution. Could you get a smell? Yes, there will be a pungent smell. This is the smell of alcohol, as sugar has been converted into alcohol by yeast. This process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is known as fermentation. There are some medicinal uses of microorganisms as well. Whenever you fall sick, the doctor may give you some antibiotic tablets, capsules, or injections, such as of penicillin. The source of these medicines is microorganisms. These medicines kill or stop the growth of disease causing microorganisms. Such medicines are called antibiotics. These days, a number of antibiotics are being produced from bacteria and fungi. Streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin are some of the commonly known antibiotics which are made from fungi and bacteria. The antibiotics are manufactured by growing specific microbes and are used to cure a variety of diseases. Antibiotics are even mixed with the feed of livestock and poultry to check microbial infections in animals. Means antibiotics are also given to animals. They are also used to control many plant disease. In 1929, Alexander Fleming, a scientist, was working on a culture of disease causing bacteria. Suddenly, he found the spores of a little green mold in one of his culture plates. He observed that the presence of mold prevent the growth of bacteria. In fact, it also killed many of these bacteria. From this, the mold penicillin was prepared. Now you come to know about the history of how the penicillin was prepared. Now, why are children and infants given vaccination? When a disease carrying microbe enter our body, the body produces antibodies. What are antibodies? Antibodies help us to fight the infection. The body also remembers how to fight the microbe if it enter again. Means antibody helps to fight disease causing microbes. So if dead or weakened microbes are introduced in a healthy body, dead and weakened, the body fight and kill them by producing suitable antibodies. The antibody remain in the body and we are protected from the disease causing microbes. This is how a vaccine works. Several diseases including cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox and hepatitis can be prevented by vaccination. In your childhood, you must have given injections to protect yourself against several diseases. Can you prepare a list of these diseases? You may take help from your parents. It is essential to protect all the children against these diseases. Necessary vaccines are available in the nearby hospitals. You might have seen the advertisement on TVs also, newspapers regarding protection of children against polio under Pulse Polio program. Polio drops are given to children are actually a vaccine. A worldwide campaign against smallpox has finally led to its eradication from most parts of the world. These days, vaccines are made on a large scale from microorganisms to protect humans and other animals from several diseases. As these days, coronavirus is also there, and we need to develop or find or discover a vaccine against this pandemic. Some bacteria and blue-green algae are also able to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich soil with nitrogen and increase its fertility. These microbes are commonly biological nitrogen fixers. Students, you have also done nitrogen cycle in chapter 1. Harmful microorganism. Microorganisms are harmful in many ways. Some of the microbes cause disease in human, in plant, and in animal as well. Such disease causing microorganisms are known as pathogens. Some microbes spoil food, clothes, and leather also. So it means microorganisms are harmful also. What are the disease causing microbes? Pathogens enter our body through the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat. They can also get transmitted by direct contact with an infected person or carried through an animal. Microbial disease that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, or physical contact are called communicable disease. Examples of such disease include cholera, common cold, chickenpox, and tuberculosis. When a person suffers from common cold sneezes, fine droplets of moisture carrying thousands of viruses are spread in the air. The virus may enter the body of a healthy person while breathing and may infect that healthy person also. There are some insects also, small insects that carry disease. There are some animals which act as carriers of disease. Housefly is one such carrier. The flies sit on the garbage and animal excreta. Pathogens stick to their body. When these flies sit on uncovered food, they may transfer the pathogen. Whosoever eat the contaminated food is likely to get sick. So it is advisable to always keep food covered. Avoid consuming uncovered items of food. Another example of a carrier is the female Anopheles mosquito, which carries the parasite of malaria. Female Aedes mosquito act as a carrier of dengue virus. All mosquitoes breed in water. Hence, one should not let water collect anywhere in cooler, tires, flower pots, etc. By keeping the surrounding clean and dry, we can prevent mosquitoes from breeding. Try to make a list of measures which help to avoid the spread of malaria. You can see the picture of female Anopheles mosquito here. Now let us discuss some common human disease caused by some microbes. Tuberculosis. It is caused by bacteria and it is transmitted through air. How can we prevent? Keep the patient in complete isolation. Keep the personal belongings of the patient away from those of the other. Vaccination to be given at suitable dosage. Other examples are measles, that is caused by virus and is transmitted through air. Chickenpox also caused by virus and is transmitted by air. Polio also by virus and transmitted by air. So you can keep the preventive measures. Cholera, it is caused by a bacteria and may be transmitted by water or food. Typhoid, again caused by bacteria and can be transmitted by water. How can we prevent cholera typhoid? By maintaining personal hygiene and good sanitary habits, and consume properly cooked food and boiled drinking water, and also vaccination can be helpful. Now next comes hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is also caused due to virus and it can be transmitted by through water. So how can we prevent hepatitis B? Drink boiled water or we may take vaccine. Malaria is caused by protozoa and it is transmitted by mosquito. How can we prevent from malaria? Use mosquito net and repellent, spray insecticides and control breeding of mosquitoes by not allowing water to collect in the surrounding. So students, these are the some of the common human disease and how can we prevent from these. Now, there are some microbes that can cause disease in plants also. Several microorganisms cause diseases in plant like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple and other. The diseases reduce the yield of crops. They can be controlled by the use of certain chemicals which can kill the microbe. Some common plant diseases are citrus canker. It is caused by bacteria and transmitted by air. Rust of wheat. It is caused by fungi and transmitted through air and seeds. Yellow vein mosaic of bhindi. It is caused by virus and it can be transmitted by insects. Students, there are some chemical methods like salt and edible oil are the common chemical generally used to check the growth of microbes. Therefore, they are called preservatives. We add salt or acid preservatives to pickle to prevent the attack of microbe. We can store pickle for long time because we have added in it some salt as a preservative. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite are common preservatives. They are also used in the jams and squashes to check their spoilage so that we can keep the jam or squashes for a long time without spoiling. Preservation by common salt. Common salt has been used to preserve meat, fish for ages. Meat and fish are cooked with dry salt to check the growth of bacteria. Salting is also used to preserve amla, raw mangoes, and tamarind, etc. Some items, food items, we can also preserve by using oil and vinegar. Use of oil and vinegar prevents spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such an environment. Vegetables, fruits, fish, and meat are often preserved by this method. Some food items we can also preserve by sugar, like jams, jellies, and squashes are preserved by adding some sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content, which inhibits the growth of bacteria which spoil the food. While some other methods are heat and cold treatments. You must have observed your mother boiling milk before it is stored or used. Boiling kills many microorganisms. Similarly, we keep our food in refrigerator. Low temperature inhibits the growth of microbes. So these are various methods how can we preserve our food items. One another method is pasteurization. Louis Pasteur was a French biologist, microbiologist, and chemist renowned for his discovery of the principle of vaccination, microbial fermentation, and pasteurization. He is remembered for his remarkable breakthroughs in the causes and prevention of diseases, and his discoveries have saved many lives ever since. He was a great scientist. Pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling as it is free from harmful microbes. How can we do pasteurization? The milk is heated to about 700 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. By doing so, it prevents the growth of microbes. This process was also discovered by Louis Pasteur. It is called pasteurization. Finally, storage and packing. These days, dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed, airtight bag or packets to prevent the attack of microbes. In airtight bags, microbes will not affect much. Thank you, students.